Hi there, this is Sarika Sagar from Karma Careers. Today I have brought with you an explanation of a poem from class 12 syllabus, CBSE board of course. And the name of the poem is My Mother at 66 by Kamla Das. What is the poem about? What is the underlying meaning? What is it talking about? Okay, what is the paraphrasing? I will tell you everything. First, let me read a little about the poet Kamla Das. Kamla Das was born in Malabar, Kerala. She is recognized as one of India's foremost poets. Her works are known for their originality, versatility, and the indigenous flavor of the soil. Kamla Das has published many novels and short stories in English and Malayalam under the name Madhavikutty. Some of her works in English include the novel Alphabet of Lust, 1977, a collection of short stories Padmavati the Harlot and Other Stories, 1992. Underline from here. In addition to 5 books of poetry, she is a sensitive writer who captures the complex subtleties of human relationships in lyrical idiom. My Mother at 66 is an example. And before you read, there is something that you have to debate upon, that you have to give a second thought, okay, go deeper into it. Aging is a natural process. Have you ever thought what our elderly parents expect from us? This we will be doing later, but first I want to tell you about something, what the poem is all about. If you read the poem, if you go on a superficial level, if you read it just for the heck of just doing the paper and writing the answers, talking about alliteration, talking about personification and things like that, you will be able to do so as you do it in the guides from the guides in the reference books. But what I want to tell you, what this poem is all about. You see, this mother and child relationship is very special. It is God sent, totally God sent, because we know very well God could not be everywhere, so He created mothers. It is said this way. And we are talking about Kamla Das. If the storyline, we talk about the storyline, Kamla Das is a working woman and she is a middle-aged woman. She's almost, maybe, I feel so, what I can make out from the chapter, that she's almost 30-35, independent woman. She's staying in the city, she's staying in an urban area, and mother is somewhere in the hometown, which is in the rural area, very near to Ernakulam, that is Kochi. Okay, she's very close to Kochi, and the main city is Kochi. Kamla Das has visited her mother on a vacation. She has spent some good time, quality time with her mother. Maybe she has come on a holiday, or maybe she has come on a vacation from where she is working in a metro. And now her vacation has got over and it's time for her to go back to her workplace. And she has to take a flight from the airport, and her mother is accompanying her in the car to the airport to see her off. And the journey from her village or maybe from her town, wherever she is staying, is a long journey, okay, to the airport. And we all know that when we talk about these elderly people and children, they have this special quality, they have this one very special characteristic, that whenever they get that rhythmic flow, okay, they lullaby, they go off to sleep, whether in a train or they are in the car. Okay, so the sway, the movement of the vehicle, it is a very soothing effect on them, and they go off to sleep. And there is one very common similarity you will find between the kids, babies, okay, and elderly people. Their reflexes are very poor. Of the child, the reflexes are not developed, okay, and of an elderly person, the reflexes are getting older and weaker day by day. Okay, they are like going on the negative side. So the moment they go off to sleep, they just sleep with their mouths open. They just sleep that way, neck hanging on one side, mouth wide open. Okay, so this is the scenario of this old mom also, who is with Kamla Das, and she is of 66 years old. How old is she? She is of 66 years old. Why am I stressing on this number 66, this age? Because that I'll be explaining you later. Prior to that, what she is going through, what feelings she is going through when she is seeing her mother sleeping, dozing next to her, what emotional turmoil she is going through. okay, what unsaid fears she's going through. That is what the whole poem is all about. But I want to tell you one thing, that no matter what we say, no matter what era we are living in, no matter what age we are of, this relationship of a mother and a child is so unique, that no matter what age group you are of, maybe you are 30, 40, 50, 55, if you have your mother with you, you are always having the fear of losing her. And this one thought comes to you, what will happen if my mother leaves me? Okay, she goes, she crosses the bridge over the rainbow and she passes away, she goes to heaven. So always the fear is there, what if I lose my mother? And this thought is also so, sinful, that you don't want to think of it. Because you are with this feeling of superstition, that whatever we think happens. What makes us superstitious? This is another thought I want to share with you. What makes you superstitious? It's always the love, compassion, care. It makes you superstitious. Okay, today if I have my child, I do n number of things for my child to see that to see to his well-being. Okay, if somebody tells me go do this ritual, do that ritual, it will bring about good luck to your child, I'll end up doing it. But I might not do it for my students. It's not that I don't love my students, it's not that I do not care for my students. It's simply that this mother-child relationship is so strong that it makes a mother superstitious also. If we care, we are superstitious. If we do not care, we are not superstitious. It is as simple as that. I am not saying that being superstitious is right or wrong. I am not debating on that. I am simply saying that what makes us superstitious. Similarly, when we care deeply for someone, these thoughts also play a major role. The thoughts of thinking positive or negative, the idea of thinking positive or negative also makes us, it plays a very major role. We say that if we think positive, positive happens, and if we think negative, negative happens. What makes us do so? Our desires for someone, our love for someone, compassion, care, bonding for someone. So same is the case of a mother and child relationship. It's a very unique, special relationship. No matter how old your relationship is with your father, no matter how old your relationship is with your other family members, your siblings, let us say father, your mother, your relationship with your mother is the oldest one. Why? Because you developed a relationship with your mom 9 months before you came to this world. Okay, you first stepped, she only brought you to this world. Okay, and she brings you to this world. So your relationship with your mom is 9 months older, okay, than any other relationship on this earth. Okay, why? Because you have stayed with her. Okay, you were knotted with her, you were connected with her through that umbilical cord for 9 months in her womb. Okay, she has nurtured you. The nurturing she gave you inside, the care she gave you inside, the protection, the warmth that she gave you inside, the silent promise that she gave you at that time during those 9 months, that my child, I'll bring you to this world safely. Okay, and she brings you. And this trust, silent trust, that this child, okay, the spirit of this child, the soul of this child must have felt in the womb, is there for a lifetime. It's there for a lifetime, and it is unshakable. So a child develops an unshakable trust and unshakable faith in his or her mother, no matter what the age group is, what the age bracket is. Okay, and that is why you see, you must be saying that I'm wasting time or saying something which is irrelevant. It has got a lot of relevance, and that is there. Unconsciously it happens. I tell you a very funny thing, interesting thing, you might laugh off there. Whenever something happens, something goes wrong, the first thing that comes to your mind, okay, when you're in college or in school, or maybe you're making a life, if you recently got married or something, your father is fending for you. all the finances your father is arranging for you. We believe so. Okay, and he's the earning member for you. But whenever you are in a swoop, whichever you can say crisis you must be in, it could be emotional crisis also, physical crisis also, anything. Okay, the first person that comes to your mind at that time is your mother. Later comes the dad. Another thing I'll tell you, when you fall down, maybe you're walking on the street and suddenly you topple, okay, or maybe when you're coming down the steps and you slip and you fall down, the first word that comes to your mouth, the first word that you utter is Oma. Okay, whichever your mother tongue is, okay, whatever is your mother tongue, you speak in that mother. Oma, Amma. Okay, mom, whatever you say. But do you say, oh, bap? You never say that. It never comes. Why? Instinctively, that looking up to someone in the time of crisis is the result of the promise that your mother gave you in the womb, that my child, I am there with you and I'll bring you to this world safe and sound, and till the time I'm alive, I will take care of you till my last breath. This is a relationship that a mom and a child shares. Nobody can snatch away. Nobody can replace that relationship. Okay, that is why I tell you, I have actually seen many students, I've seen many children. These moms have a very funny habit, have a very sweet habit, I would say very cute habit these moms have of asking their babies, their children, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, what are they asking? Beta, what will happen if your mama dies? Beta, kya hoga agar mama ka death ho gaya to? I don't know why moms have this habit, but I've seen a number of moms asking this question invariably from their kids, okay, the toddlers. And ask the husband who's sitting behind, he said, ask me, I tell you what will I do. But she's not asking because she knows what reply she'll be getting from there, but she's asking the baby. The baby says, look what the child is saying. The baby is saying, who will prepare my lunchbox? Then who will take me to the bus stand? Who will help me do my homework? Who will come to my PTM? Who will take me to the picnics? What is the child trying to say? Mom, my world will come to an end. Children are very bad with words. Replying to the point, being very laconic comes much later in life. But initially, when you are small, your expression power is not that strong. So you explain your emotions with the help of examples. Okay, so the child is saying, who will celebrate my birthday? Who will come to my PTM? Who will do this? Who will do that? Means my world will come. Because that is the world of a small child. And mom is playing an integral role. Only mom can take care. She's a superwoman. My world will come to an end. What the relationship of a mother and child is. Okay, this is what I want to tell you. Though it is a very, very small, tiny poem, but it is very deep, very subtle, very meaningful, very, you can say deep set it is. And that is what Kamala Das is famous about. She writes in a very simple manner, she writes in a very beautiful manner, but only if you can understand what she's actually trying to say, it is always very emotive. And it connects to every common man who reads it. Okay, now I'll read out the poem fast and then I'll tell you what it is all about. Sorry for the dogs that are barking, they are sometimes completely unruly. Driving from my parents' home to Kochi last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, dozed, open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away and looked at young trees sprinting, merry children